Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, and welcome back to another installment of the Rufus Rundown. Another return episode with a couple of special guests from the Breakfast of Champions, Matt Trahan and Brandon Mendez. What's going on, guys?
What's up, Lucas? How
What's
you
up,
doing,
Lucas?
man?
Hey, thanks for having us.
No problem.
So,
Always a pleasure to bring you guys on. I'm glad to be back at it once again with another episode. And every time we do an episode together, it tends to take off, tends to do well with the views. So that's always a not that I don't have a fun time talking to you guys as it is. It could do one view, it wouldn't really matter. But kill two birds with one stone. We do well with the viewership, and we have a fun time while we're at it. So may as well continue to do that. So how have you guys been with everything? I know back to school, everything like that. You guys have probably had definitely a change of scenery with COVID and everything like that.
That's for sure.
yeah, well, we'll follow suit like in our podcast. I lead off, and Coach Trahan comes in and bats cleanup. So, school's interesting place right now. Nestled in the academic wing, there's not a whole heck of a lot going on. Nobody in that wing of the building except a couple teachers and a small group. So I got to get out to the vocational shops and go visit and check out breakfast every morning, see what's going on. So my world is interesting. Trying to pick up some conditioning and weightlifting again. Trying to get some kids out doing some things, and recently picked up the student council gig too, so that's fun. Yeah, it's fun to be involved in. We met with the officers already. They're gung ho, they're great, and we had a nice meeting last week. So yeah, that's what school's like. Like I said, very interesting place. Very interesting.
I can't imagine more of a different. I mean, especially for student council, like a bigger time. Like student council is kind of like back like when high school is normal. Like some people kind of get into it, some people can't. But now more than ever, there's probably not more of an important time to have a go between the people in that school that are supposed to make the decisions as opposed to the students too, because it's everybody's safety involved. It's everybody's like interests that are involved here in terms of communication going both ways and making sure everybody's safe and comfortable.
Yeah, that's one of the things. They're already, their big push right now is to make something positive happen. Whether it's positive messaging. We got a little event in the works we're planning, specifically for the seniors too, to do with the season. I was joking with them. It's homecoming week, but it's not. But so yeah, it's a good group and they have a lot of great ideas, and I think it's going to be exciting.
Homecoming week. That's as obviously as a former football player, that just hits different to know that nothing's going on. It just, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me, and I'm 3 years graduated now at this point. It's definitely a weird feeling.
Yeah. Dude, there's nothing is the same. Nothing feels the same. Nothing resembles the same. It's just, and I won't use the term new normal because it's far from normal. It's more of like, let's get through this. Let's flip the switch and turn it back on, because I think we're all waiting for the same thing. I know the kids are itchy to get back at it, and I have the luxury of being in the cafeteria / gym with them, and talking to as many kids as I can, just trying to pump them up, and they're all ready. They want to go, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, no, I'm not even playing a sport or anything right now. I'm just ready to just not have to wear a mask into a restaurant or anything like that, or wear a mask at work when I'm talking to people. It's just, and that's just the very base of it. Never mind all the other stuff that you can go back to doing. I mean, I turned 21 over the summer. I mean, haven't really been able to do much, with that since out, like, in terms of.
Are you sure? I've seen you on Instagram. You look like you're enjoying 21. Okay, listen. Let's be honest with the viewers here. Okay, Lucas is 21. Follow him on Instagram, and you will see all of the wonderful things that happen in his life.
We won't talk about his Snapchat stories.
No.
Boom, blown up, Lucas, man.
I just throw you out there. You could end up with more viewers. You're living an interesting life. We were 21 once too.
That's what I touched on with the last one. Is that with cancel culture being so toxic, I could go out there and say some really outlandish stuff and probably do better for viewership than I would if I was actually honest to myself and was actually trying to be a genuine person. That's the problem with how toxic social media is and how people can be nowadays. Is that?
Yeah, listen, it is so true, Lucas. It's so true that, you know what? Brandon and I were having a conversation about and I have no problem throwing it out there. We were having a conversation about a fellow AD, and I can't be the guy who is on the negative side. You know what I mean? And when you listen to certain people talk, and it's like, you know what, enough. I'm big on surrounding yourself with good people, and when people want to spew that negative vibe, it's like, it's cringeworthy. You know, it's like, just keep it real and keep it positive. You know, especially with us who work with kids. You know, you gotta live that positive life.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough time to really stay positive now, but I mean it's even more important to try and do so because it's what keeps you going every day. It's what keeps you rolling out of bed. You
Yep.
know, especially now more than ever. But I mean, yeah, everybody I think has those people that just kind of drain on them when they're around them, and it's just kind of how it is. You just kind of have to deal with it, and you just kind of have to pick up on the tone, pick up on the sense, pick up on the attitude, and just know how to tune in and tune out when it's necessary for the benefit of yourself.
Yep.
Well, you are the reality you create. You are who's around you. You are what you constantly think about and what you put into action. So that ultimately lies on us as individuals and who's around you as people. And clearly, like my esteemed co-host over here, and the company I choose, we choose to be around positive people and people who like to have good conversations and be well thought out and well spoken, and instead of just spewing nonsense because I can type it with my thumbs,
Yeah, Twitter go full blown Twitter fingers for
right
for views and all them. Like it's just I could never do it. I could never sell out like that to do anything like that. I mean, some people think with my Celtics takes that that's what it's like, but what are you
Well,
gonna do?
not for nothing, but we talked about the Celtics a little bit on our show, and I was trying to remain positive. We threw a little heat on them, here and there. I do have my favorites. I do have some thoughts on some of the guys that jacked up a few of those. Let's call them extra threes. As a coach, you look at them and you say, yeah, I would never question Brad, but I'd question a few of them.
My thing is that I don't question Brad as a coach. I question Brad as a person who can manage people. I really do think Brad Stevens is an incredible basketball coach, and when he coaches at the collegiate level, he can really get those kids not be a raw, like kind of be semi raw, but really just be a smart guy that people can buy into a system that doesn't focus around one person. But the problem with that in the NBA is that you need to design a system that works around two or three people, and everybody else kind of has to just kind of fill in a little bit. And he's trying to, and while he had success building a team full of Jay Crowders, Isaiah Thomases, and the Al Horfords of the world that have not one set person you can go to, and that was more successful than a lot of teams that feature Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker, and Jason Tatum. I mean, going to the Eastern Conference Finals, yes, that's great and all, but the talent that he has at his disposal with the locker room reacting the way they did in terms of arguing and the Kyrie Irving thing, given Kyrie Irving's kind of a flake, the Brad Stevens train for me has kind of fallen off a little bit just because the NBA is more than just being a good basketball coach, but also being able to manage the personalities of multimillionaire stars.
You have to do both. To be a successful coach, especially at that level, you have to do both. And look at the guys who have sustained success. Greg Popovich. I look at him as probably the highest echelon in NBA basketball coaching at this point.
Actively, yeah, because Phil Jackson was able to handle Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Rodman. And then he was able to go handle Kobe Bryant and company as well.
Shaq. Yeah,
Not for
exactly.
nothing. All you had to say was Rodman. You didn't even have to mention Michael. The other one. I watched the special more than once, and man, I'll tell you, Rodman's he's just a different animal.
He's a character.
But he was brought in there for a purpose. But I couldn't agree with you more, Lucas, because you know what? I said it not too long ago about Brad. X's and O's, absolutely. What happens between the lines, between the whistles, I think those guys call their own shots sometimes. I don't necessarily know whether or not they're running the offensive set the way he'd like them to. I think that they're freelance, and I think that the decision-making at times is questionable.
Yeah, and that's where I run into a lot of problems where a lot of people think, like, oh, you're crazy for this, you're crazy for that. I feel like a lot of Boston fans are very passionate. I give them credit for that, but I also do take them down a notch in that sense, too, where it's like, I'm not a homer. I'm very unbiased in what I believe. People believe me to be just this negative Boston fan where it's like, I'm more honest about what I'm looking at here because I can't just openly be a homer because then I can't be taken seriously by other crowds. But like I said, that's just my thing with Brad is that I think his character management will be the next thing, especially at that level. It's a lot different than being at college, and I think that he's a great basketball coach, like you said, X's and O's, but I think a couple of those guys either have to buy in more or they have to rotate some more pieces in there.
Well, and that's where you're looking at your two young, Tatum's what, 23, 24?
I don't even think I think he's barely 20. I think he might be 23 coming up.
23, yeah.
And Jaylen Brown's a year older, 24.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those guys are the future moving forward, and you look at where they're at in their career, their best days are still ahead, so are they going to grow together and develop a system together? Or are they going to have to, I think I agree. There's some chess pieces that have to move around a little bit to put all the pieces together,
Yeah, and I wasn't big on the Jaylen Brown contract when they signed him. I was never really a huge Jaylen Brown fan. Kind of proved me wrong this year.
Yeah.
But the thing is, my thing with Tatum is that I think he's a lot closer to his ceiling than people believe him to be. I mean, it's hard for me to say. I mean, he's only like in his early 20s, but
Right.
he does so much good right now where it's like, what more is he going to be able to build on? He's not really a knockdown shooter, and I don't really ever think he will be. He's a shot creator, yeah. But, like, he's a creative player, but turns the ball over a good bit. Especially, and when it comes down to it, I haven't seen. And my other thing with the Celtics was too is that there was not really one person on that team with like a killer instinct. They never had like that it factor you're looking for, where you just don't know what to call it, but they don't have it. For a long time, I was on that with the Celtics, where they just didn't have that it factor, and you'd hope that someone like Tatum would have it. Never really showed up. Marcus Smart has that dirt dog attitude, but he doesn't have the ability to just drain a three right with someone when the game's in line. Who do you go to? Normally,
he'll
that's
pull it no matter what, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he won't think twice
He'll
about it. Kemba for the most part, I thought had it, but he played hurt. He was hurt for most of those series, and he just didn't show up, and that's where the Celtics really met their downfall.
You know what I like? I like a thought of maybe bringing in somebody who's a KG veteran who can come in and say, I've been here, done that. Maybe lead the young troops to water and get them to buy into the concept of, I don't want to say team play, but, a little bit more of the Jimmy Butler-esque kind of take it to the basket and score the three the old-fashioned way, where that's where they got beat in the end. Jimmy
Isaiah Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You can have your three. I'm going to get my three the old-fashioned way, and put you in foul trouble too. So I just look at. I think there's a few pieces missing. I think that they need a true big, but I also think they need some leadership, and I think that's not hard to come by. I think you can find that out there at the league minimum.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some guys they can run in there. I mean, they lost a guy like Aaron Baines who can actually step outside the line now. But I'm sure there's some pieces they're going to add. Danny Ainge is very, very proactive in what he does. He doesn't wait around it a lot. I mean, he did the whole Kyrie Irving trade with Isaiah Thomas. I have complete faith in Danny Ainge, and I'm sure he'll be able to swing some moves and make some deals. But you have teams like the Bucks in the East and the Heat in the East that are it's now a very tight. It's tight in the Toronto too with Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry. I mean, it's going to be a very tight and compact. Now the East is a lot better than people give it credit for now. Yeah. I think that people really noticed, considering the fact that the Heat went 6 games while playing as banged up as you possibly can. Jimmy Butler, say what you want about him, say what he's gone through. I think he's so committed to just winning that a lot of those guys in Philadelphia and Minnesota rubbed him the wrong way because they weren't as committed as him. And I've said that the same way about DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins used to get into fights and stuff all the time, and I had no issues with it because he used to get into fights because people weren't taking practice as seriously as he wanted to. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate more. I mean, listen, I want you to get along with your teammates, but once in a while, a little scuffle or something because someone isn't taking something as seriously as you want to shows a good amount of leadership that you just want it more than they do. And that brings up, and that can raise the level of people around you. And I think that Jimmy Butler's a prime example of that because I certainly think the Celtics had a more talented team than the Heat.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't really think the Heat. I didn't really think the Heat had the perimeter defense to maintain the Celtics, given Kemba was banged up. But Jimmy Butler really willed that team, and that block by Bam Adebayo too really just a lot of grinders in that series that really that played the kind of basketball that I like to see. That I think a lot of people that are true basketball fans like to see, as opposed to this. Given the Warriors are impressive to watch with the way they shoot, with the way they were shooting the ball during their run and everything, but that was true gritty driven basketball. Played so many different styles, so many different aspects of the games between defense and screens and getting to the basket, but also being able to knock down open threes. And Jimmy Butler playing hardcore defense and going both ways while playing banged up with the rest of his guys. Really impressive to see what they did and how that somewhat older brand of basketball can still be played in today's NBA and be successful.
I love it. Sign me up. I want more. Sign me up. I want more. Listen, and I'm not old school by any stretch of the imagination. Not even close. But I will say this though. In the game, you give things and you take things away. But the one thing you're going to give the low percentage shot, which is the three. And that's what the Celtics took. They took the low percentage shot where, you got to find those rotations where you can swing. I think Brandon and I talked about where, who was it? Was their big? They weren't coming over to double, and all of a sudden they were just slipping them passes. You got to find those things, and it's just they're so reliant on that three ball. I struggle with it, and then game to game, it's like you look great one game, and the next game, you got a guy who can't score any points in the first half.
Right. And that's where my kind of gripe comes in with Jason Tatum, and that's also where my gripe comes in with Brad Stevens, where I think he's a great coach, and I think he might be closer to his ceiling, but he's still a very talented player for his age, but there's still some little things to mix in there. There still needs to be some more consistency, and that's why I think Eric Spoelstra is a very impressive coach. To be able to take a personality like Jimmy Butler that hadn't really worked out in his last two teams, and not only take him in to be one of the teams. I mean, the Heat were not projected to be a team that they were not projected to go to the finals by any means.
No.
They were barely projected to make the playoffs. With players like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro.
Ooh,
so he takes a personality of Jimmy Butler, and then he takes some low draft picks and mid draft picks, and puts together this fantastic team. Like handling the personalities of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh was impressive as it was, but now what's Jimmy Butler to him? And he lets Jimmy Butler take the horse, take the reins, take the wheel, and they ran a long way, and I think it speaks a lot to how good of a coach that coming up from I'm pretty sure he was like a film specialist, like collecting film.
Way back.
And he moved up the chains and eventually made it to now a head coach in the NBA. And
my friends and I had a joke. He was just Pat Riley's son-in-law, and he was just there when LeBron went there as a pawn, as a as a face.
Yeah.
But he's proved himself. I mean,
yeah.
If this year more than any other, he's proven himself by far.
Yeah, I've always thought he's been a very good coach, and being able to manage those personalities was impressive. But the fact that he's able to do the X's O's and be able to manage personalities of Jimmy Butler, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and young players. Duncan Robinson's very young. Herro is very young. Bam Adebayo is very young. Then you bring in a veteran like Jay Crowder. Really just we're able to blend some real driven guys, some real gritty basketball players, and now it's made Miami a free agent destination. People like Victor Oladipo and stuff like that might be looking to head down to South Beach. I mean, Miami's pretty
Wouldn't you want to go to South Beach?
We were having the 21-year-old conversation. And
I'm just saying. I'm trying to keep you honest, Lucas. I want the people to know. I want them to know. Listen, I'm going with you. We're going to South Beach.
Hey.
Oh man.
I would not be opposed to making a trip down to South Beach. Absolutely would not. I don't really think anybody would. And if
here's the magic question. No, here's the magic question. All right, you listen to this. Who left? Who left Miami? Listen, who left? Why would you leave?
Yeah.
Why would you leave? He won a championship with the Lakers, but why would you leave?
Well, I mean, I don't know how your acting career can take off in Miami. I don't plan on having an acting career.
Yeah, he wasn't doing Space Jam in Miami.
Does he win 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, he still does. He's gonna win no matter where he goes. He's one of the most talented athletes I think of my generation in terms. He's the most talented athlete I've ever seen.
I hate to say it, they're gonna go back to back.
Yeah. Well, they got the team for it. You stay healthy, they got the team for it.
Him and Tom Brady are some of the most impressive athletes I've ever seen in my 21 years on this planet.
Yep.
And I'm not even a Pats fan. And people and Tom Brady's one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive athlete ever. And people, how can you say that he's slow? He's this. If you're doing what he's doing at 43 years old, the drive, the ability to stay healthy, the ability to do what he does, to come back from that ACL injury and still put up the numbers he does at that age and still adapt to systems the way he has, it's damn impressive. Damn impressive.
Hey, I was telling Brandon, I was passing the ball around with one of my nephews this weekend, right? And I'm not 43, I'm 41. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I had all I could do to walk to the car. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? These guys are in tip-top shape. I don't know what he's drinking in that Gatorade mug, but whatever he is working for him.
Could be some of the Ray Lewis antler spray. We don't know.
Oh,
might be. Might be.
Hey. Rub it on.
We actually had some of that at GNC. Like the Bucked Up makes an antler spray brand, and every time I look at it, all I can laugh and think of Ray Lewis in the white suit.
Yeah.
God, it makes me laugh. But we'll keep going. That's a conversation for another. That's a conversation for South Beach, I guess.
Absolutely.
So I guess we could just get into the NFL season and what you guys have thought of it so far. Some teams have fans, some teams don't. There's been some cases. Some teams have been They've been thinking about making them forfeit a game because they were very lax in how they were going about COVID restrictions and such. What have you guys thought about it all so far, and how do you think that it can relate to your football season coming forward in terms of the spring and everything, if you can learn anything from them?
I defer to my esteemed colleague. Why don't you kick that conversation off?
In terms of the NFL, you're gonna see it was bound to happen. You're gonna see cases. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's not feasible to think that there weren't gonna be. My issue with the NFL is that there's a mad race to continue putting everyone out on the field. You know what I mean? So now you're spilling over team to team. You're forcing games to go to, like, what is it? Buffalo has to play Tuesday, Sunday.
They have to play
something
today.
like that.
Yeah. Short week now.
That's not okay. I don't care at what level you're at. That's too short of a window.
Well, already
You know
with
what
no
I mean?
with no preseason too. You see the amount of
Correct.
injuries now. They're forcing them on short
Correct.
weeks. There's like ACLs, there's Achilles's. I mean, never mind concussions and everything else, and then getting COVID on top of it, where nobody knows what the long-term results of this disease is. We know that it kills
True.
some people short-term.
Yep.
Nobody knows what the long-term is, and then people are tearing their ACLs and tearing their Achilles's and stuff, and getting these really severe injuries on top of it.
Yep.
It's tough.
Yep.
You're gonna find that, and I firmly believe this with the COVID thing, that there's going to be the long-term effects like you mentioned. But if you develop something, if you end up getting sick later on, if you had COVID and you come down with some, I have a strong suspicion that it's going to be elevated because you have a weakened immune system, or your lungs are in jeopardy, or something along those lines. It's not a good thing. It really isn't. And I think for us, I mean, certainly in what we do, I think that we've taken every precaution, and I don't know that I can say the same for the NFL. I mean, I love what the NBA did, Lucas. I think that they did everything they possibly could. I think it's a little bit easier with the type of professional athlete that they're working with, where you can do that. I think with the what is it, 54 now, 54 man team roster.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot more difficult to handle than 12 to 15 guys.
Right. Plus a practice squad and all that other stuff. Yeah, not so feasible, but. I don't know, man. I'm not a big Goodell fan to begin with, because some of the stuff that he's done over time, I feel like it's more about him, and it's more about just making those dollars, come in.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool off the bat, but now it's like, really, this is where it's going to test. I mean, Adam Silver, very proactive in what he did, took care of all the business, and you put the politics and all the other stuff aside. It's impressive. 170 games on a single COVID case. Just a handful of. Well, no, not a handful. Just one trip to a strip club for some lemon pepper wings from Lou Williams, and they avoided everything else. But
I don't even like lemon pepper.
I tried it from Buffalo Wild Wings. Wasn't that great. There's no way that I'm gonna put my family's health and my health and like my team's health and the ability to win a championship at risk for those wings. They weren't great.
Something tells me he wasn't there for the wings.
I mean, that is open for discussion at any other point. But hey, Lou Will is gonna do Lou Will.
Yeah.
But the worst part about all this, Lucas and Brandon, is the fact that when you look at what's going on, like, no, they took care of those guys in the NBA. They had personal masseuses, they had barbers. You dream it up. They had it, so they made them as comfortable as possible. Why? Because they didn't want them to leave the bubble.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
That's it.
And listen, I mean, the NFL. You look at how many players are we talking are in the NFL, and
I mean, I could do the math real quick and give you a good guesstimate.
Yeah, you're looking minimal 80 times 32. You're looking at 2,500.
2,500, and
that's never mind the staff and the coaches and everything like that. So you're looking probably 3,000 plus people.
Easy.
Correct.
Easy.
Correct.
Easy.
I mean, I think they're going to limp to the end, and I think you're absolutely right. I think you're going to see games forfeited, or you're going to see the situation that they keep alluding to that nobody wants to bring up, tacking on a week at the end.
Yep.
To make up games.
A lot of people are going to get hurt. A lot of teams are going to struggle, and it's really going to throw that asterisk up there if they don't do the bubble sooner rather than later. And like I said, the bubble might not be fathomable. But then again, what are we weighing here? We're weighing the dollar versus the health of these players, the health of their families, the health of fans that can somewhat attend these games. Is that what we're really going to weigh here?
Well, you heard McCourty, right?
Yeah.
We all heard McCourty.
Yep.
Think about it. He's on the inside. He's on the inside and telling you what he's telling you. He knows what it's all about. Now, where I struggle with it is that these guys have been playing probably Pop Warner, high school, college, work their way all the way up to they get to the pinnacle, and now, you're playing around with their livelihood and dollars and cents. I mean, like, you think about it, you could extend a career or you could end a career. Through what's
Absolutely.
going on right now.
And that's for COVID alone. Never mind with any like knee injury or arm injury or anything. There was no preseason, and that's where you saw a lot of these injuries. The field conditions were in worse shape, probably because there's all kinds of restrictions in terms of how many people you can have on grounds crews and stuff like that, and what time they can be there, and how long you can be in the stadium on the grounds crew if you're not a player or whatnot. I'm sure there's restrictions on all that stuff. They were upset with the field conditions. Well, it's hard to keep all that stuff going when you have all these restrictions in place and everything like that. Not saying I'm not a fan of the restrictions. I'm just saying it's hard to keep this product going at top notch with all of this stuff with all of this stuff in play.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of trickle down just from COVID alone.
I think that's a great point, is that the product itself, what kind of product are you putting out by, so we're week, 5, 6 now, and you're seeing marquee guys coming down, getting hurt, for the season.
Yep.
Things like that, long term.
Look at the Niners. The Niners just had Jimmy G and all kinds of guys just in that 1 week alone.
Yep. Right. So by week 10, 11, 12, at this pace, what kind of product are you putting on the field?
You're opening the door for my boy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to come and take over the world.
Hey man, I'll hop on a practice squad. I said the same thing for baseball. They had those like little training sites for players they wanted to sign. I'll gladly hop on a practice squad. I'm ready to go.
Dwayne Johnson, I tell you, he's working out, man. He's got the Brahma Bull, he's got the whole brand and everything. He's like, he's taking over. The Rock is real.
Oh no, there has to be a team called the Wolfpack, though. Has to be.
Team Too Sweet. Right there.
to think of a guy like Dwayne Johnson, who had all of his life savings in his pocket when he graduated from the University of Miami, to now owning partially into the WWF, being one of the most successful wrestlers ever, and probably being one of the most successful moguls ever.
Yep.
It's incredible to think about. People like him, like Brock Lesnar, Ric Flair, people that were, you can be that big muscle head, that big meathead, and everybody can like you, but where are you going to go with that? Well, they were able to take full advantage of the fact of, look where they are now.
Yep. And you've never heard a... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say, you've never heard a negative word outwardly about Dwayne Johnson either.
Nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. Not a word. That's crazy.
If you look at Dwayne, though, one of the biggest keys to his success is that boy can talk. He's and you saw it in wrestling. Yeah. But he can talk. He's got a great delivery, but it all took off when he finally shaved that head. That's what I'm saying. Hey, he shaved that. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? There's another guy who can pull off a bald head.
I don't have the eyebrow with none of that, though.
You don't have the eyebrow, but
I don't have the people's eyebrow with none of that stuff.
We can still smell what you're cooking, Coach.
We smell what you're cooking. You can deliver the message. Absolutely.
There's never any confusion about smelling what I'm cooking.
It's usually eggs, linguiça, and definitely some sour cream.
Obviously.
Love to mix in the breakfast reference there too.
Oh yeah,
you have to. Of course. You have to. But I think he's an impressive person to look at, and I hope that league takes off too. I think that he'd be smart enough to make that into like a AAA for the NFL if he was smart.
Exactly what I said.
I think he'd be smart. Everybody's trying to compete, and competing with the NFL is the dumbest thing you can do. But if there's a time now, the NFL is hurting and is going to be hurting by that period of time. If there's a season to hop in and do it, where you can have like basically turn the practice squad into a whole nother league and get game reps to these guys against other like players.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, and it's kind of, if you can do it like the G League and offer some guys might leave college early to come hop in this league for a year.
He's a salesman. He's a salesman though. He can sell it. And
he's a businessman as much as he is an incredible lifter, incredible athlete.
Yeah. But I think you're absolutely right, Lucas. I think he can turn it into the next big thing. And now you've created opportunities for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of athletes who are obviously going to get paid through that league, but stand the chance of moving up to the next level and
Right.
making even more money.
Well, just think of where, like I said, I mentioned where he came from too. He would have probably killed to have the opportunity.
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't get drafted, obviously, but I guarantee you he would have been playing in a AAA league if they had one for the NFL. Maybe not
Yep.
NFL. I mean, NFL Europe was kind of a thing then, but you know, like this is obviously would be way more easy to get in touch with, to get involved with, and I think that he not only is he incredibly smart in what he does and takes his business opportunities, I think he does stuff that he actually genuinely cares about as well, and it makes it a lot easier for him.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I guess back on the subject of the NFL, I mean, the product's been all right. I mean, aside from like certain injuries and stuff, like I still obviously enjoy what I can't think of anything better to do on Sunday, you know, just relaxing and watching football. You know, I have
Unless you're watching Texas, Oklahoma.
Oh.
all right, I mean, Saturdays too. Saturdays
Saturdays are great.
Saturdays are for the boys, but also Sam Ellinger
Yeah.
can sling the rock a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I love watching. I mean, I'm still watching football all day Sunday. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where they got us. We're all still gonna watch. We're all gonna check out fantasy teams over and over and over again. We're all still gonna watch every game that's on. You know what I mean?
I'm in a pool. I'm in a pool,
Are you?
and I'm in second place. I'm a win off the top.
Attaboy.
Nice.
The Rasputin's pool.
Ah. Oh. Ooh, stay out of that place.
No, I don't go to that place. It's just the guy that gets me the card from the Rasputin's pool.
There you go. And
No free press there. Actually, I'll have to mute out that.
You Febreze that card. You clean that card.
I'm not even
And
saying
then you give it back.
But yeah, I'm a win off there, so I've been paying attention to that at least. So I mean, that's one of the better seasons I've been having so far. Is the one that's just plagued with a plague, I guess, in a way. But I mean, it's certainly. I just can't. For me, it's hard for me to talk about it in a sense of like taking it seriously, because it's like, does it really count at the end of the day? Does it really count?
All right. Well, in that case, does LeBron's last title count?
Well,
Is there an asterisk there?
Or does the baseball World Series count too? I mean, that's the conversation. It's so hard to have because like there's no right or wrong answer really. I don't think, is there?
The right answer is this: yes, it does count, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Our school was awarded the Walter J. Markham Award, and there's no asterisk attached to it. It counts. Okay, it counts.
Right.
You can discount everything else if you want, but that one counts.
Oh, I wasn't bringing that. I was going to bring it up in the positive sense. I wasn't knocking that one.
Lucas.
I wasn't knocking that one. I was going to bring that up. I was going to try and bring that up on more of a positive note than.
Yeah. No, you know what? It counts. If you're playing the game, it counts.
Yeah.
As much as under different circumstances, it's all different, whatever. But if the fact of the matter is, if you got two teams on the field and you're playing the game, I think it counts.
But
same thing. Lions Club got a big title this year.
Oh,
you know that thing counts. I ain't discounting that. Never.
Nope.
Can't discount the. I don't know. I can't. It wasn't champagne. What was it?
Oh, sparkling cider.
Sparkling cider.
Yeah.
You can't discount the sparkling the sparkling cider was real. So I mean, like obviously the trophy's real, and obviously the fun that those kids had is real.
Yeah.
Big gold belt is real.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did we bring out the heavyweight championship belt for that as well?
You know what? Friends who care are friends who share. You know that.
I was actually sending Brandon the videos the other day. I went back in my camera roll. My dad sent me a couple of the ones. The one of my interview from the Upper Cape game where I ran for like 80 yards, which I was like, wow. And then the one of me like doing the discount double check with the belt, and then country headbutting me with no helmet on by accident. That was something. I was like,
those are the ones you don't forget.
Yeah.
No, I forgot that happened. He was like, let's go. And I just got a head-to-head contact, and I was like, I'm going to be concussed for our state playoff game. This is great. But no, I was like looking back on. I have so many like those pictures and stuff from that belt. That belt is just, that's the best investment the athletic department or just Matt Trahan himself has ever made for.
Listen, it has paid dividends time and time again.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is that we actually like earned the belt. Like you didn't just bust out the belt for no one, but like we just continue to produce, and it's like holy shit, the belt's still here. It's great.
Yep. Oh yeah, great marketing piece, and everybody loves it. Everybody loves it, and it's a great opportunity for kids to take pictures with. It's, you wait till the end of the season to get your championship plaque, but I prefer the belt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's cultural too. It's a unique thing within Old Colony. I don't see any other schools wearing belts.
No, and if they do, they're the cheap plastic ones from Walmart.
No, this thing's the real deal. This thing's full metal. That thing was heavy around the waist.
Yeah.
Listen, what is it? 12 pounds? 12 pounds? That thing's solid like
Gotta be more
a
than that.
rock.
No,
Gotta
it's
be
gotta be
more
more
than
than
that.
12.
Yeah, maybe
I used
15.
it as a prop for Mr. Cougar too, which I was
Yeah, I remember
I was
that.
reflecting on the other day too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on bringing that back. That's coming back.
I was gonna. I want it to come back. I really enjoy. I really enjoy. That was one of my best high school experiences doing that. I was sad to hear that the class after me didn't want to do it. And obviously this year you couldn't do anything. And I thought that this year would be
No.
a good class. I think people.
We had it lined up. We had it lined up.
I feel like Bumpus and all them would have had a blast. Would have been great at it. Would have put on a great show.
That would have been perfect. And they were lined up, right, Brandon? They were.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a cast of characters.
I can only Josh. I'm hoping Josh Freitas would have been involved as well too. My son.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he was in. He just left though. He went to basic.
Did. Yes, he did go off. He did go off the basic because I know it got delayed. I remember he was supposed to go way then, and like the day of, they told him, and I was like, like they could just tell you, oh yeah, just go back home. We'll call you in a couple months. Like, okay. Like I'm like that's.
Sure.
I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. But I mean that that kind of sucks. Imagine getting yourself like all zeroed in, ready to leave everybody, and then all of a sudden they'd be like, yeah, just a couple months later. Like I would be like, that would be a total like turn off for me.
Yeah, he never stopped smiling though.
No, it's Josh. If anybody, I mean, if there were, I guess there were some other people that would overthink it, but Josh is like, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
So shout out Josh Freitas.
Hell yeah,
absolutely,
my guy.
That's it. Great kid, man.
Nah, that's just a great. I'm still in a fantasy league with all of them too. I do a dynasty league with all of them, with Justin and Chandler and all of them too. So.
Oh yeah.
Just that old colony community, staying connected.
That's it, man. I love it.
But yeah, it's going to be tough to see how these seasons go. What is like the news on like the high school seasons that are coming up? Do you guys have any active sports going on? I know like New Bedford has like field hockey and like soccer.
So the locals of this, I think it's like the Big Five is the only ones going, and I think in a lot of ways, Lucas, it's because they have the resources and they have the field houses, per se. Mm-hmm. So, nobody else, the South Coast Conference and Mayflower, nobody's doing. I shouldn't say nobody. They are not doing anything at the moment. They've all elected to go to fall 2 with the fall sports. So, we're going to find out. Well, coach is not afraid to coach in the cold. I mean, I don't think his father wears pants. I mean, he's been in shorts his entire life. So, it can be as cold as it wants to be out there. It's not going to affect the coaching staff. And it sure as heck isn't going to affect the kids. We're ready to go.
Now that you mention it, I don't know if there's ever a time where I've seen coach coaching in anything but shorts.
Yeah. It's a rare day.
Would it have it have to be the Cougar Cup or something where it's like 20, right? And even then.
Even then.
There's been years that I've worn shorts for the Cougar Cup. Yeah. Has to be a cold day in hell.
I don't think my senior year you must have pants on. That was wicked cold. There was like snow on the ground.
Yeah, you know what? Your senior year was like extreme cold.
It was wicked cold. And I had a separated.
Oh, that was up at Bellingham.
Yes.
Your senior year. Oh yeah.
That was freezing.
Or that you had like the compression leggings underneath the shorts.
That may have been the gimmick.
Because that game was cold. I mean, I didn't have any sleeves on, but that game was cold, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting to hear, Lucas. I have a committee meeting tomorrow.
I always pick the bad timing in terms of when you have your meetings and when we get on here for information.
Listen, if you waited a day, I'd have information.
I have work tomorrow. No, I said that, and I instantly thought he said Wednesday work for you, and I was like, damn. Now that I said that, but I work tomorrow. Otherwise,
it's all good because you want to know what information today changes tomorrow. So it's I'm going to hear some things tomorrow, and you know what? I mean, we all have good intentions. I think we all, there's a lot of brilliant minds in the room that can try to put things together. But at the end of the day, it's all going to depend on what people do outside, and how people are, interpret what's going on out there in the world. And I think the fact that basketball is an indoor sport, and hockey's an indoor sport, there's some hurdles to jump there. There really are. And I think that we'll do it if I have to coach in a mask, I will. If there has to be no fans in the gym, I will. I mean, we'll pipe in crowd noise. We'll be playing some music, but
add it to my list of tasks at the scores table.
Listen, you're multi-talented. You're multi-talented. There's nothing you can't do.
Coach, we're just going to have to remind you not to take your mask off. The tie, the sleeves can get rolled up. The tie can come off. The jacket can come off. You just can't take the mask off.
As long as the belt stays on, I'm good.
But yeah.
I've gotten better. You didn't know me way back in the day. You didn't know me back in the
I
day.
haven't seen you snap a clipboard in a few years.
I know. I'm
the hell?
domesticated. I'm
the
domesticated.
hell?
Listen, I've embraced my inner chi.
My sophomore year, I saw a couple of clipboards hit the
Spell
dirt.
chi.
My sophomore year, when I was one of the biggest OC basketball fans probably ever, I saw some clipboards really eat the dirt.
Yeah, back in the day, I think there was games. There was two or three games in a season where it didn't break over a 20-game season. So
did you now before your season, would you budget out clipboards, like multiple clipboards?
We can't talk about that on air.
Like, was the expectation that clipboards are gonna get
let's just say at certain points I had to go out and go buy my own.
But I'm hoping all of it can take off because I actually worked in the TV truck for New Bedford. I directed one of the soccer games, so I was switching up the cameras and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But you can tell the kids that are playing, they're not playing the game they're supposed to play. You can't head the ball, you can't do certain things, and it's like you can tell they're thinking more about what they can't do than what they want to do, what they naturally want to do in terms of playing the game they've probably played their whole lives. And it's unfortunate that it's just really unfortunate.
So you've eliminated that killer instinct.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
because you can't go full throttle. And the fact of the matter is, like, like I knew volleyball was going to look different, and a lot of teams were like, maybe it's indoors again. It's indoors.
Yep.
But they actually refer to the area right up above the net as the COVID zone. You cannot enter the COVID zone.
Yeah, that's
so again, now, like, to your point, Lucas, you can bump, you can push, you can do all those things, but you can't spike because and now you've eliminated, like, so we're playing where I don't want to put it down because people are working hard, but it appears to be like a version of beach volleyball.
Yeah, people are doing what they can do, but
right,
it's just
and I give them credit.
Yeah, no, I'm not knocking anybody. I mean, I'm just knocking the virus, which obviously doesn't care what I have to say about anything. But it's just like I said, I can't say anything more than just that it's unfortunate that you've played these sports your whole life and you're committed to them, you're passionate about them, you're enjoying them, and it takes away from that. You have to play a totally different game, and it just takes you right out of your element. And not only that, when you're not playing full throttle, that's how you get hurt too. You can get hurt that way, especially playing a sport like soccer or something where it's like where you're thinking, oh, make sure I don't make contact with this guy. Someone might come up short behind you and make contact with you. I mean, it's a really unfortunate thing to see. Just like it was just really sloppy play, and like the announcers were saying, oh, it's a sloppy play. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, all they're thinking about is what they can't do and not what they're just naturally inclined to do and the plays they're ready to make.
Right.
I think during the girls' game, there was at least 3 penalties because if you make any contact with anybody, no matter what, at all in the box, not even go down to the ground, like even if it's like a shoulder or anything like that, it's a penalty instantly. So it was a 9-0 game in the girls' game because there were like 3 penalties.
Wow.
So and then the boys' game finished up 0-0 because like the boys were like picking up the ball or pulling their mask down, the game was stopping or couldn't head it, and then it was just really just it was just crazy to really watch that way where it's like, wow, like professional soccer players, like, I mean, obviously they have it's different, but I mean, like, the players are still wearing masks. I don't understand where like the non-heading comes from and stuff like that. So it's just like, I know people are trying to do their job, make sure everybody's safe, but at the same time, it's like, even is the risk even worth it at that if the game's going to change that much?
Right. Well, the other point that somebody made too, and I think Brandon and I were talking about it, is, when you look at the sport of volleyball and even soccer for that matter, you now have to have somebody there to be to sanitize the balls.
Yes, we caught that on camera. We caught that on camera. There's a guy in the back spraying all the soccer balls all the time.
Spraying all the soccer balls, spraying the volley. Like, you literally have to employ somebody to handle that task. And just think about the logistics behind that. You know what I mean? And in certain sports, you got equipment. I mean, you're wiping down padding, you're wiping down this, that, and the other thing. And, I look at all of the rule modifications. I look at, like, the finer points of it that people don't realize. In the sport of volleyball, what they tell you is that, I go back to volleyball because I think soccer is so outside the box of what it even was to like, the heading, the slide tackle, and all of that stuff. Yep. In volleyball, you've got the COVID zone, but now you're talking about, you can only have a varsity team, the 2 coaches and the refs. JV team's not allowed in the gym. Freshman team's not allowed. No fans, no nothing. So at that point, it's like, I mean, and I think it's setting the table for what could happen with the remainder of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken away from the development of players too, and a
Yeah.
lot of it's and a lot of times sports keep kids out of trouble too. They keep them committed to something. They have that's
Well,
where
of
their time
course.
spent after school and stuff. So now it's like it really does. Like I said, it really has had a massive trickle down effect that at a time like the trickle down might have been something different, but even as we move to different phases and it seems like it's getting better, there's still going to be adverse effects that have really started because of COVID.
Right? And
Personally, I believe that at least.
and it's scary to think that the game could change. Like you said, it takes away from the development, the
Right.
participation. Once a kid to say, well, screw this, I'm just going to go to work, or you know what I mean.
Right.
And then as
I
a
have a
sophomore, never go back to playing the sport that he likes.
right. So everything that we've worked so hard to produce in terms of participation and progression of student athletes and things like that could take a step backwards, and that's just really sad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that's a major portion of a kid's life that they'll never get back.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, I myself included, my expectation was I was going to be back on campus.
Right.
I really I really kept to myself during the quarantine. I followed all the rules, did everything as best as I could, stayed, as straight edge as I could throughout all those times.
Right.
And I mean, because I respect people too and respect my parents' wishes and everything, but also on top of that, because there was an understanding that there were better times ahead, but everything's just severely slowed. So, and it really we've kind of it's become like a complacent thing. So I'm sure I'm not the only person who believes that as well. But I'm sure a lot of those kids in high school too that are in a very tough time in their lives, especially now more than ever during a pandemic, that might have found a release in those sports that they played, especially football
Mm-hmm.
players and stuff too. I know
Oh
myself
yeah.
personally, like football, the contact portion of it is a incredible release. Now, what do those kids do? You know,
Lift weights and run right now, and we'll see.
Yeah.
you know.
It's.
that's it right there. That's
I
it.
think that's
Stay
the
in the weight room.
frustration. That's the frustration too, though, Lucas. Is that we've been through this before. You know what I mean? It's been, hey, let's wait another couple weeks. Let's wait another couple months, and then it's we wait and see, wait and see, wait and see. And I've said this before, and probably once or twice on our own podcast that by no stretch of the imagination am I a control freak, but I also like valid information and I like to know concrete things. So when I don't know, when people ask me like, "Hey, you going to play basketball?" and I say, "I don't know, I don't know," and I don't like the fact that I can't give you a hard date that we're going to start and we're going to play and we're going to have somewhat a resemblance of a season. At this point, you know what? I think it's 50-50. And I wish I could say that I'm 100% certain that that's going to be the case, but only time will tell. And I don't know about you two guys, but I have hit the point with this that I'm just over it to the point of aggravation in the fact that this has been going on far too long. That this should have ended, I think, a couple months ago, and we should all move on with our lives. But it's this is just ever going. It doesn't stop. You know.
Yeah, I'm no epidemiologist, and I don't pretend to be. I don't pretend like I know what's exactly going on with it. But what I do know is that it's frustrating. I'm personally fed up with it. I'm fed up with. I mean, like I have to take at people's word for what the safe action is, what the good actions are.
Right.
Right.
I hate being told, and I hate the general public being told what what people think they're supposed to hear, not what it really is. I feel like more
Right.
often than not, we're being fed stuff that they want us to know, or what they feel like it's safe for us to know, as opposed to what the actual information is for interpretation, which sells me short of my intelligence to think like I have good morals, I have good things. Like if I know the information at hand that would make a certain situation, I'm gonna have my good morals. But I guess there's less faith in other people than that, so that's the way the information gets to us, and it's frustrating for a lot of people.
It's frustrating because we're so held up. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're still so held up even on a big. We look at our little world and athletics and things like that, but look at the big picture, the grand scheme of things. We're still held up financially as a country, stability as a country. Sure, we're not in dire needs of hospitals are overwhelmed and things like that, but we're still held up
Well, that's the thing. I know
over
a lot of people like to schedule stuff. A lot of people like to have a plan in place months out,
us. Yeah.
and you can't plan for this thing. You can't plan anything. People that are trying to move into houses, people that are graduated college, trying to move into the workforce, an
Yep.
election for crying out loud. All of that is so just so much uncertainty surrounds all of it,
Mhm.
and you don't know when it's ever going to end, if it's ever going to end. So it's hard mentally to stay sane, really, with all of
Yeah.
that going on, with the idea that you don't know when or even if it's going to end, and how to plan for that if it does or doesn't.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
There's so many
I,
different branching paths.
I try not to, I mean, I just told you I'm very frustrated with it, but I also trying to get myself to a point where I'm not feeling the poor me, because you know what, I'm far better off than some others in my health. You know what I mean? Like, there's people out there that struggle with it, and they have obviously lost their lives. But and Brandon and I talked about this, I think a week or two ago, that we can say it's a small blip in your high school life, but we always go with the approach of telling kids that, hey, you got 4 years, and these are some of the
Mhm.
best years of your life, so make the most of them. And when you say those things, you mean them. So when you're preaching that, and now all of a sudden, a season gets taken away, 2 seasons get taken away. Yeah, you can say it's a blip. It's more than a blip. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's
I
definitely more than a blip.
I still recall the Monomore game where I couldn't play because of my shoulder. That's
Yep.
Mhm.
one. That's one single game, and I remember coming back early and my dad questioning it, and I said, I had 4 years, or when I broke my foot my sophomore year, my dad was like, hey, step off. I didn't know I had a
Right.
stress fracture in my foot, but I said, I have 3 more years of this, so I have the rest of the season. I have 2 more years of this, like, and I don't get these back.
Yep.
And I remember the one game I missed. Never mind a season.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
incredible. But I mean, on the end, that I think the frustration shows for a lot of us is that and especially on your end, for you guys, it's frustrating for yourselves, but it's also frustrating for the people that you have to look out for, like the students and the athletes, and it shows that you guys care. So there's that compassion in it that other people can actually get relief from. So at least the fact that your frustration isn't totally negative, it's in the sense that you're frustrated in the sense that you can't help people, you can't do things in the normal way that brings happiness and joy to people around you and to yourself as well.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is, the normalcy for myself. We talked about it. I haven't had a season off in 10 years. You know what I mean? First time in a long time. But, we talked the other day. It's really about the kids at this point.
Yep.
I
Yep.
specifically referred to this year's seniors who lost their spring sport in their junior year, and the major landmark that is senior year. And, we joked earlier about homecoming or whatever. Hey, homecoming has not happened. As a student council advisor, we're going to do some kind of homecoming this year by hook or by crook. We're going to make something happen. But is it your traditional homecoming? No. Will they have the opportunity to be announced with their parents under the goalposts? We're going to work like hell to make sure that happens.
You better believe
you
it.
know but I mean, in the traditional sense, a lot of those things that have been bypassed, the junior proms and things like that. So it's really our focus right now is on that aspect, is that do whatever we can
Yep.
to provide the best possible experience for the kids that we work with. And it is damn frustrating to have to continue to be at bay, be on edge and wait and wait and wait. But, we've done it this far, and, our school's done a great job at supporting everything and supporting the kids, pulled off a great graduation, all that, open school seamlessly.
Yep.
And this is going to be no different. We're going to work like hell to make sure we get everything we can for the kids. So, but like you said, it is frustrating at this point because, Coach and I are both planners. We're both, full vision ahead. Sitting on my hands is not the place that I enjoy being, and I'm
Nah,
not good
you
at.
feel like somebody else is dictating the tempo of your life, and also
Yeah.
you're in charge of dictating the tempo of a lot of these kids in high school's lives. So
Right.
how are you supposed? So if you're supposed to dictate tempo and have things planned out for other people and for sports and for teams and for student council and for homecoming, how are you
Yeah.
supposed to do that when someone else is dictating it to you and a virus is dictating it to them?
Right.
So that's where that path of communication, that chain of command, in a sense, just gets so slowed, and that's why we're so far behind, and so I feel stuck in this one place for long periods of a time before we can really feel like, wow, this is different than it was then, or this is different
Right.
than it was then. I mean, I can look back on 6 7 months ago. Yeah, it's totally different. We're going to restaurants and stuff now, but like, if we're going 6 months at a time, I'm gonna lose my mind. I've already lost my mind after the first 6 7 months.
Right.
Right.
On our end, though, Lucas, I think that I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and that feels kind of lousy to be stuck in that kind of Groundhog Day-ish feel of, and have that angst of when are we going to finally make this thing happen. But I think that the two of us and many others that are at the school, I know will be fully committed to do everything and anything that is needed to be done. And I think this gives us an opportunity to be really creative and maybe even do some things that we've never done before, so that we can send the seniors off with a positive message, and have things happen around their games and around their lives that we might not have actually thought of before, and maybe they become new traditions or new norms at the school. So that's how I'm looking at it. But I do think that when that button gets flipped, you're going to go from 7-8 months of like sit and wait. It's going to be hard to shift from second gear to fifth. You know what I mean? It's not going to be as easy.
You don't want to stall. You don't want to stall out there.
No,
But
no.
Well, if there's anybody prepared enough to do that, it's us.
That's what I was gonna get at there too. Is that I think if there's anybody who's ready to go from 20 in the merging lane to 70 in the passing lane, it's gonna be you guys. You guys are.
I got a heavy foot. Everybody knows it. I got a heavy foot. Those deals on North Ave don't stand a chance.
Oh, tell me about
it. Jesus.
Guilty.
God.
So bad. I had to put a deer whistle on the car.
Same.
Same. Yeah, that's unique stuff. People from that don't know me from my high school or anything are probably gonna be like, what?
No, but you want to know what the funny thing? The funny thing is what are the odds? Like, you talk about like random acts happening over the course of time. Listen, I've traveled the road hundreds, maybe thousands of times. Okay, I won't even say hundreds, thousands and thousands of times. Okay, it's like a tree going down in the woods. You hear it if it goes. Like I've hit a deer about 4 times, and think about that. Think about that. And in 3 of those 4 times, it was the same vehicle.
What was it? I think my senior year where someone hit a deer, and then some other classmates.
Yeah.
There was venison to go around after that deer got hit. In the lightest of terms, yes. There was roadkill that became venison for those. Just unique stuff, man.
But it's you gotta love it.
No, it is just I just like reflecting on there's just no one can even fathom that. Yep. And it's the same thing like the one time you guys brought the lights out for homecoming, and that just stuck. That just stuck.
Yep.
Now there's lights there. Now there's actual lights.
And you know what? It makes me excited to tell you that the switch has been flipped, and they all work.
Oh.
And they all work.
I've seen pictures. It's real.
Hey, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So and I know when we hit the go button, it's gonna be fun in the sun. Fun in the sun as much as possible.
I cannot wait to be covering that.
Yep.
I cannot wait to be covering that with an article, my GoPro, all that stuff.
Yep.
I can't wait
to make it happen.
And
we got a brand new PA system. We're gonna I hope the neighbors are ready for some thumping.
Hey, if you need anybody to announce too.
Yeah.
I know Stormer Norman does a hell of a job.
Oh, he does. I haven't talked to Norman in a while. I have to reach out to him.
But if he gets wrapped up in a little bit of schedule or something like that, hey, look no further. I can.
Absolutely.
I'll take care of you guys up there.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I just like being around. I've talked to Brandon about it too. Anybody, you know of any other places that are looking for a young, hungry 21-year-old coach to understudy? Like a little understudy to their coaching.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah, I know quite a few people.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to outreach, get some experience now and stuff, and just stay involved with it, especially in a time now where people need that help.
Yep. Well, I think you talked the last time that we were on. You had referenced baseball about getting involved with a friend of yours and doing some things with baseball as well.
Yeah, I told Jake eventually I'd love to take like an AAU team or coach a Little League team or something as we eventually move forward and stuff like that. Obviously, I want to get into some slow pitch as well too.
Yeah.
Jake literally just texted me, but yeah, I think that's slow pitches. I think next summer if we can. My boss at work too, my friend Caden, my boss and friend, I think he weighs in at like 270, 275. He's a crazy shot putter, like wicked built kid, like wicked strong
healthy
kid.
Boy.
Like built like me, like wide shoulders like me and everything. Caden's really into like supplement stuff, like knows what he's talking about there. And I think his dad played like professionally. Like he played like those travel teams like overseas and stuff and came back and forth. So he's got, and then his mom did some like track stuff like Olympically wise too. So he's got like the athletic genes. He goes, I want to play. I want to do some slow pitch. And I said, all right, let's get after it. Get a little team together or something like that. If you guys want to hop on too.
I'm retired.
You-
I'm retired. I'm
He's
retired.
you sure you and Pryor wouldn't want to come out of retirement?
Coach Pryor and I played on the same team for a little bit.
Well,
You get him-
I know Pryor had played, so I figure have you guys come out of retirement a little bit.
Yeah,
You
there
get him
was-
as a designated hitter. He's a
that was-
designated hitter.
That's
You
my
can you can
MO.
have
what
Dylan
I'm
run. You
saying.
can have Dylan run for you.
You're better off with me running.
Ah.
Just want to keep hamstrings intact. Don't need you on like a little like scooter cart in the sideline.
Have you seen this guy's caps? Have you seen his caps?
I've seen him moving at full speed. Might have been one of the scariest sights I've ever seen. I forget why. Oh no, we tried getting him with the ice bath, and I'm pretty sure he went from
yeah.
goalpost to goalpost in 5 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I don't know who we sent to get him with the ice bath too, because it was the worst effort. I think it was Ronnie and Brad, which was probably the worst effort I've ever seen in my life. Like,
I got my money on if we were to time him and the rest of the football team, I'm taking him that he's beating half the team in the 40.
At least half.
At least half.
Yeah.
Yep.
At
I'm
least
betting.
half.
I'm betting he's got at least half the team in the 40.
In fact, I can name the 8 or 9 kids who would beat me, and that's it.
Ryan Baker.
Yeah. Well, he's beating everybody.
Yeah, that's.
How is he
Yep.
doing, by the way? He's supposed to be coming home soon, right? Or
He
was?
should be home soon. Last time I spoke with him, he was home in August. And
But is he
was
home
doing
for? Is he
well, and
home for good? Is he home for good coming up?
I believe so. That's the plan.
Like I
Wow.
said, I still want to do that little 30 for 30 too with that season.
That'd be fun.
Listen,
That'd be a lot of
that sounds. Listen, that you need to put that on the calendar. That would be.
Yeah.
I
a
think
lot
if
of
we
fun.
got like Big J, Ryan, Jack Murphy, and we broke down the whole season with highlights and stuff, maybe like a little 30 for 30, I think it'd be a really fun time.
Have to be some creative editing because I'm sure some comments would have to be cut out. But other than that, we'd be all
I'm a
right.
very creative editor.
Listen, that would be if you do that. That'll be my second favorite 30 for 30.
Is the first
That's
one?
first.
If the first one isn't 4 days in October, is it winning time with Reggie Miller?
No, it may or may not be the Nature Boys.
Come on. Come
I
on.
should have known.
Hell, you?
I should have known. I didn't know if you
Nah.
liked it. I like the Reggie Miller one too. I'm a real big fan.
Yeah,
of
Reggie
winning
Miller.
time.
Reggie Miller was very good. Yeah.
There aren't too many that I don't like. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a pretty big fan of the June's. What was it, June 11th one? Whatever the OJ one was. The OJ
Yeah,
one with
yeah.
Arnold Palmer and all the sporting events.
Yeah.
That was a cool one.
I'm a big fan of the Pistons, the Bad Boys one.
Yep.
I'm a
Yep,
big
that
Four
fan
days
of
in
that
was-
one.
Four
that
days
was
in
fan.
October is literally.
Oh
just-
my god, amazing.
That
I haven't
is
seen that
amazing.
one. I have not
You've
seen
never
that one.
seen 4 days in October?
No.
It's
I'll-
like
I'll-
David Ortiz / Red Sox porn. It is.
Yeah.
It is literally like.
Essentially.
It is literally like they. If Jesus Christ was here, David Ortiz would be like up here.
Wow.
After
That's
that.
sacrilegious, Lucas. That's sacrilegious. I'm gonna have to watch it.
My religion is sports, and David Ortiz is sitting at the right hand of the throne of sports, man. That dude's
Wow.
something else. Speaking of
He's
seven,
awesome.
7 years ago today is when he hit the grand slam in Game 2 of the CS. I don't know if you guys,
Oh.
you know, with the cop with his hands up like that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's 7 years ago
Yeah.
today.
Wow.
Oh, good times. Good
Time
times.
flies. Time flies. It really
Yeah, no,
does.
I can. That's 7 years ago. Jeez, that was.
Yep. Yeah, we don't play. Him and I aren't playing softball, but we're certainly chasing our kids around, watching them play sports.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of takes the place of,
Yeah.
Well, Dill lifting a trophy for sure. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
And
That was fun to see. He had
Yeah.
a great season. It was cool.
Man, I helped coach. It felt cool for me too because I helped coach like when I was like my senior year of high school too for like that
Yeah.
honor society project where I was like
Yeah.
a lot of the I helped around with like a lot of those kids, helped the Dill. And even gave my first baseman bit, the one that I used back in Little
Yeah.
League and stuff too. So
Yep. Oh, he used it. He was playing first base this year. Yeah.
like that it was cool for me because like I loved coaching. I loved being around it, and
Yep.
I know I loved playing Little League when I was there. So if I could help make it any more enjoyable, and I won a championship when I was in Little League too. And man, it just feels good. It just feels
Yeah.
great.
Nothing like it. That's what I told the kids too. There's nothing like it.
No.
You know what I mean? You'll never have that little league. You're never gonna win a little league championship.
You don't.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No,
Like,
it's
you'll
just,
never play little league.
That's
again.
like there's no responsibilities. That's the last time in your life where you can really go after something with like no responsibilities. Like Pony League is when people start working and stuff, and
Yep.
Yeah.
obviously high school you have jobs and stuff like that. Like, which don't get me wrong, winning the conference championship in high school, like I said, was God, great. It was great. Lifting up that belt was something else. Especially even that my junior year. I still reflect on that Blue Hills game my junior year.
God.
those are some of the best. I mean, those triple-headed monsters, the 3 Blue Hills games were just like,
Oh God.
you know,
Matt, did I mention to you that I've actually met the quarterback of that Blue Hills team that I sacked?
You
No,
told me.
I told
really.
Brandon. So I was at one of these houses that I go to and hang out at, and the kid sends me a message. He goes, "Hey, you didn't play football for Old Colony, did you?" I said, "Yeah, I did." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm the quarterback for Blue Hills." And I was like,
Really.
and I said, like, yeah. So that
Funny you mentioned that.
I was like,
Yeah.
I may or may not have my highlight film with you dead lying on the ground. He went like 3 for 4 with 175 yards and 3 touchdowns because Waggle just broke us every single time for whatever reason.
Didn't see that play in practice, huh?
Pacho?
No, you didn't see that play in practice? No, never.
I did. I saw it.
Yeah, all right, yeah, just making sure.
I mean, I abandoned my coverage to sack the quarterback because I didn't want the
Well, it worked.
I didn't want what happened in the previous time to happen again.
Fair.
Because then you can just bring. But then again, we brought Jack Murphy out there, and the kid was about to catch the pass, and then Jack just clotheslined him. So that was that was one of the better moves. I was like, dude, if it's like that's just busted. Like it's not a spot foul; it's a 15-yard penalty. So the ball wasn't even close. Jack just comes in and absolutely annihilates the kid. I was like, good play, good play.
Yeah.
You know what I like about those games? I mean, those games were evenly matched.
Yeah.
You know, quality players across the board, all over the field. But I think we all had a common appreciation for the person in front of us versus, you know, I won't name names, but you know who I'm gonna mention. You know, when you play those games, there's that extra, you know, aggravation / fuel to the fire.
I'm laughing because I know
exactly.
I'm looking at a picture of the team that you're talking about. And it's right. I'm looking at a picture of me playing that team.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is it's synonymous with what we do, but at the same point in time, like I just look at the quality of those Blue Hills games, and you know, obviously, I have a friendship with their AD, so I respect him, and he happens to be was the football coach, but you know, there's just some people that coach the game the right way and play the game the right way, and there's other teams that are just cutting every corner and.
It was always down to the wire. Blue Hills. It would never was not an entertaining game.
No.
Yep.
I know they tried to play a little psyche stuff. We had us at a 4 o'clock game on a Friday, and we had to get up for that.
Yep.
But nice field, decent ride out there, and just it's like anytime you see anybody at like the Blue Hills reservations, or anytime I'm around Canton or driving out that way, it's like just the flashbacks kick in from just.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a lot of great memories. It's why I feel so bad for these kids that are missing out on their seasons and their senior seasons and aren't being able to play right now. Just it for me, someone who's experienced it is like and can step outside and look at it that way, hurts me even, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I guess to kind of like close it out on more of a serious note, so like you guys all know, Dak Prescott suffered that ankle injury, which was obviously a tough blow for him because. I mean, I've never felt more genuinely bad. It's hard for me to feel like genuinely bad for like professional athletes, but when an injury like that happens, I feel bad. But then when it's a guy where his brother committed suicide in the offseason, he's been the poster image for being able to deal with like anxiety and mental health and depression for the NFL. Was having a really good season in a contract year where he was franchise tagged, and then that happens. I feel genuinely bad for this guy. And like I just thought there was no place for the comments Skip Bayless made and any type of comments that were against Dak Prescott. But also just in general, like the toxic scene of social media and everything now. And there's been instances now where kids that are 10, 11 years old have been dealing with mental health issues and have committed suicide even. And it's been dark, dark times. And I don't think 20 years ago stuff like that was happening.
Nope.
And from you guys sit in a very unique position in high school and play a big part in people's lives as coaches in high school where a time that can really make or break kids. What have you seen? Have you seen any differences in the times where you were their age and in your times when you were younger and to now? And how have you been able to connect the pieces to really make it more of a mission to help these kids and grow them as individuals and make sure that they're safe in terms of a mental state? What have you been able to learn and pick up and all kinds of stuff like that? Because it's just, for me, I've been thinking about it all along. I've gone through my own stuff myself, and I'm sure everybody has. It's just so hard for me to look at stuff like this and then see those comments where it's like, how are people still missing on this? And how do we fix it? How do we help people?
I'll be the first one to tell you, Lucas, that you know what I mean. As a high school kid, when I reflect back, even beyond that, you mentioned 10, 11 years old. I mean, there's a lot of kids. I mean, myself included, that self-conscious because everybody wants to be accepted, right? Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be loved, and you want to be part of a group. So some people don't even necessarily grow into that until they're far older, and oftentimes don't ever grow into it at all. So for me to sit here and tell you that In high school, I was totally comfortable where I sat. I had a lot of friends, but everybody was always looking for acceptance. So I feel for kids in high school because, and I've said this before, that in many cases, you're identified with the sport that you play, whether you're good or bad. You've played with plenty of football players that may have been very good or just been role players, but they were football players. They were part of something. They were part of the school, the team, the culture, and all of those things. So I think that, Brandon and I don't want to speak for him, but I think we do our very best to check in with kids. It's a little different now because we don't see them every day at 2:30 in the afternoon, but we make it a point to check in and see how they're doing. And, because, it's not that far removed. We were all kids once too, and we know what it's like to, high school's, a great time, but also can be a tricky time too. So, you want to make sure that everybody's head's in the right place and, hopefully everybody's doing okay. And so far, I mean, so far so good. At least we're from our standpoint, everybody's been doing okay.
I think one of the major things you just said is about involvement and
Yep.
being involved in a group that you feel comfortable with,
Yep.
or that you're in a place where you're either A, safe, or B, supported. You know what I mean? And I think that's a major role that, yes, we play that, but we also create that in our environment. And whether it's current students or it's past students, and clearly we still have relationships with past students
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things like that, who that know that we're always here. But I think being involved in something, and clearly we come from the athletic standpoint because that's what I know, that's what I grew up with, that's what I've always been. But I'm also cognizant and fully believe in other organizations, drama,
Yep. Yep.
even music, you get into even like the GSA, the Gay Straight Alliance, things like that. For me, it's find something you believe in and that you're either safe or comfortable, and embrace it and go with it. You know what I mean?
Skills
And
USA was fun too. I had
skills
fun
is
with
huge. Skills is
USA,
huge.
Skills USA, and shop environments are very unique too. And I had a blast in my shop as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And I think, to think back on, where Matt and I went to school, the thing was to be involved. Like, it was the cool thing to be involved in as many things as you could. We created the diversity club in high school.
Yep.
We joked about it and said, "Oh, it's a reason to have a field trip once a year." But
Habitat for Humanity was a big
yeah,
thing.
right. But it was also a group of your friends that got to get together and BS and talk and chill. You know what I mean? So for me, a big thing that we press and we stress is about involvement and being included, and that group being inclusive of people, no matter what,
Yep.
And I think that for us is huge to help support, mental health and security, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it's like I said, your colony is very unique in its sense too.
Yeah.
It's so small and it's such a tight knit community where it's like if something is going on with someone, someone's gonna know about it. Someone's
Yeah.
gonna be able to tell. You see
Yeah.
people
Right.
so often. You guys are in the position. You've seen so much, and you guys have kids as well, and you've seen the signs, the research you've done in terms of you'll be able to tell if someone's off because you see everyone every single day, and if it's not you, it's going to be someone else that sees them every single day, and it's such a small
Right.
community that, at least at your end at that school, people are going to be taken care of. And I think also being, like I said, I've talked to Brandon before, like being a parent makes you a better coach, and also I think it puts you in a better position to care for any kid, and one helps you benefit the other, one benefits the other.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, and I'll sit here and tell you, I learn something new every day. Whether it's coaching, whether it's dealing with kids, whether it's interacting with other people, it's ever changing, and you're always learning. But I think that when you lead, with the forethought of like treating people right and making them feel welcomed and loved in a way, I think that you never go wrong. I mean, and I think that's really been the hallmark of our success, regardless of the wins and losses, is the fact that teams and kids know that, hey, you know what, my coach cares about me. My coach, puts his best effort, so I'm going to work as hard as I can for him and the rest of the teammates around me. So, I just think that you see a lot of stuff, Lucas, and you alluded to the negativity out there and the negativity of social media and all the stuff that goes on out there in the world. And I didn't hear what Skip Bayless had to say, and nor will I, care to try to pick up on it. But
Nice.
the fact of the matter is that if you can live in a as a positive frame of mind as possible, you're gonna live much longer than everybody else. You really are.
And notice that you said the word
Yep.
live there.
Yep.
You can breathe every day.
Yep.
You can
Right.
wake up.
Right.
You can walk. You can breathe. You can.
Yep.
You can actively have a heartbeat, but are you living?
Right.
So you're starting living earlier, and you're living much longer than people when you have that positive frame of mind,
That's it.
and you're open, and you listen and interact.
That's it, man.
I think like I couldn't agree more. That's
Yeah,
what I think.
and self-realization, self-actualization, understanding where you are and who you are, you know what I mean, and what's important to you goes a long way. And like I said, like we were just saying, that you live more, healthier and more fulfilled when you think in that manner, and it helps being around other people who have that same idea as you.
Yeah. So we kind of basically touch off at the end where we started in the beginning in terms of relationships and stuff like that, which I like. Come full circle with the podcast.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah. It wasn't even by design. It's
No, it wasn't. It's just how it rotated around. It just shows the natural flow here. The natural zen. Just did his thing with it.
I like that.
Phil Jackson reference. I guess as a side note, I can mention that Le'Veon Bell was cut from the Jets.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, they just said they cut him. He made $25 million. There were no trade suitors for him, so they cut him.
Jeez.
So that was
Wow.
I figured I'd randomly mention that because it popped up on my phone. I was like, that's out of nowhere.
Well,
Outside of some other things. Like I said, I want to move some different areas of this podcast, like those conversations that we just had. I want to care more about. I want to make videos on like lifestyle and stuff like that, and more not vlog based stuff, but kind of like State of the Union stuff, and just my thoughts and things that I come up with in my own, and like in my thing. Like I've come up with a thing to tell people like make people live in their like own head. Like make people think. Like I for a long time I live in my own head. I'm a very anxious person, but if you have the wittiness and you have the power, but you can be a good person, you have like make people earn your respect before you're willing to open yourself up to them too. Make sure something's mutual. Don't just open yourself up because people will take. Don't always just give away. Also, make people earn being around you in the same sense too. You got to care about yourself too. I think people forget about self-care. They care so much. They put so many people before everybody else, myself included. There's also an element too to understanding that don't you open yourself up a little too much there too early, you can get hurt. And there's a lot of things I want to talk about and touch on in that sense and break down my personal experience that I think can help people as well.
Absolutely.
You got to keep going. You got to keep going, man. You got something good here. You got to keep, I like your thoughts. I like the fact that you're here, there, and everywhere. You're out here a little bit. You know what? All of those things are all great topics. And you know what? You just keep creating that fan base. I mean, if this is something that you love, I hope that you keep doing it, and I hope it's not something that you put down and say, I wish I would have stuck with it. I think you got a gift, and you should stick with it.
Yep. Well, I know it's kind of cliche, but it's something I always say: real, recognize real, man. And I know I've said that to you before.
Yep.
Like Coach just said, you got something good going here. Stick with it,
Same with
man.
you guys.
You do you.
I appreciate the word, but I mean, like you guys doing your same thing as well too.
Ask him who's brought him coffee for afternoon coffee.
Brought
2
me
weeks
coffee.
in a row.
Walked away.
Oh, come on!
It's all about the conversation. You should know that by now.
Oh, God.
It's all about the conversation.
But anyway, guys, I really do appreciate the time. I appreciate the kind words, and I'm glad you guys are doing your thing as well. And just whenever you guys post something, please share it with me. Like text it to me directly in that little group chat because I want to share all of it. I actually haven't re-downloaded like the physical Twitter app back onto my phone. I only get onto my desktop, or I go on the Safari sometimes on my iPhone. I'm gonna actually re-download the app and stuff and try to be more active and try to push with this and stay consistent. Post clips of this and stuff. So and post blogs and stuff as well. So like I know Zach's doing his blogging thing. I've like I said, Brandon has like his like author rights too. If Zach has any interest, if you guys have any interest in doing that too, outlet and stuff like that, like collaboration is all a huge thing for me because. Like you said, real recognizes real, so all it takes is for one of us to pop off one way or just kind of draw one person from one crowd to the other. We're not going to lose anything. We're just going to make this little brand push, this little thing of just these proactive, forward thinkers and people that are able to push different sides of thought and have good, solid conversation, have a couple laughs along the way. And I think that's just positive vibes that people need right now, as opposed to all the negativity that surrounds the news and social media itself.
Yeah,
Strength and good numbers, man. Strength and good numbers. You know, I think we could all do each other a favor. You know, and Nick Fryer was saying the same thing. He's like, hey, shoot, hit us with, and tag us and stuff like that. And we'll retweet, and, because they've got a good following. But funny thing is as we were talking, right? So we gave a shout out to New Bedford High School. And before I came on, I basically said to my buddy who's the AD, I go, hey guy, you can't even freaking retweet. I'm selling your wrestling program over here. Like you can't retweet. So he retweeted it, and Andy Christofoli, who's the AD at Dartmouth, he goes, I'm respectfully requesting that you have Tom Toppy, the AD at New Bedford High School, on Breakfast of Champions. South Coast Varsity tweeted back second.
Hey.
The second in the motion. So now we're getting interactive. You know what I mean? Like that's cool.
And it's cool how it comes.
I guess we know our next guest, huh?
Yeah.
It's cool how it comes full circle for me too, because I do the calls for the New Bedford High School games too. So I've called games where Will's played baseball or football or anything like that. So that's kind of a cool little small world stuff too.
Yeah.
Also at the same time, I say
that was pretty neat.
Also willing to always hop on as a guest too if you guys ever need anybody too.
We were just talking about that too. Talking about that.
We definitely got to have you on.
Yeah.
But like I said, I want to stay more consistent with it. I really do enjoy doing it, just finding the time to do it. But I really do want to start setting a schedule going forward to.
Oh yeah.
Getting the wheels going here and continuing turning, because I got to bring my boss on too. Supplemental stuff like body stuff, protein stuff. I want to do some reviews and stuff like that. Like I don't know if you guys have ever tried Pro Gym. You guys ever tried Pro Gym?
No.
Nope.
They have a Rocky Road flavor where, like, like the Swiss Miss packs have like the little marshmallows in them.
Mm-hmm.
This protein also features kind of the same thing, and it's like a chocolate milk like thing, and it's like one of like the best like clinically dosed like proteins out there. So other stuff that I like to start like touching on, like vlog based stuff, just kind of throw stuff out there. My head? We got stuff for that.
Because I'll take 2 cases of that.
We got stuff. We got stuff for that.
Yeah.
We get on some collagen or some Tamiflex and like joint repair and like hair stuff. We got. We got that for you. Or we can get you on like a prenatal formula too. Maybe that'll help a little bit.
You got anything for a Sunday morning crow's feet?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Man.
It's called Aveeno. You need a little Aveeno.
As my friend would say, a Red Bull and a dip, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Those days are gone. The Red Bull's fine. The dip, no.
Coffee grinds will do the work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The grinds. Those are all right.
You guys Mendy's either sponsored by them. Those things are awesome.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of that, we gotta start attacking that sponsorship, because we got a couple of things lined up. We need to attack that.
All right.
Problem for us, Lucas, and we're not to make a long conversation any longer, but you got a couple people that are willing to throw some stuff. But you got to remember, we're still kind of connected to the school a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You guys, I guess it'd be hard for you guys to promote like naked wine and stuff because
or ice pick vodka. You know what I mean? Like kind of tough. No, seriously, it's it's we're not owned by anybody, right? We're not owned, but at the same point in time, we do reference what we do a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a tough thing, but also too, I feel like that it'd be unfair for you guys to play it too safe. I feel like if something goes wrong, it's not an instant thing. There should be a conversation that takes place, because it's unfair to you guys, because people should have their side hustles as well. And it's not like you're going out and bashing anybody. It's just naturally, if you promote that, it is what it is, and there's other things in place to defend you as well. You guys are just earning the respect that you're doing on your side hustles.
That's it.
But your background is beneficial to what you're talking about, which shouldn't hurt you. Your background and what you do actively in terms of like your everyday life shouldn't hurt the fact that you have something else that it can positively affect as well. You know?
I kind of like that.
We keep moving forward. You know what I mean?
I'm no agent or anything, but if you need anybody to sell, look no further.
I like it.
Me too.
Guys, I think that should just about do it. Unless you guys have anything else you'd like to touch on, I think we pretty much hit on everything.
Yep. Just make sure you cut out that one MF, and we're good.
Oh yeah, we're good. Oh, we're good. I am a master editor, and I'll have like the clips and stuff up as well too. So I mean,
awesome.
9:30, I'll have plenty of time. So this will be like a Wednesday release. So like Wednesday morning from 6 a.m. on, you can listen to it on Apple, Spotify. I'll have the YouTube video up as well, and we'll just get after it. We'll be sharing it out. And hopefully I'll form a couple clips here and there, and we'll get after it.
Beautiful.
Man. Thank you,
Awesome.
Lucas. It's really been
No
fun.
problem,
I
guys.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Hey, stay in touch, and we're gonna get you on real soon.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks. You
Thanks,
too.
Lucas.